All right. Welcome, everybody, to Wall Street Reporter's next Super Stock live stream, where we bring you those stocks which have that 10x to 100x upside potential. Companies going after massive multi-billion-dollar market opportunities that are a key inflection point with multiple catalysts. And especially, we love stocks that are trading at a deep value, which is where CXAI is. And it's interesting that on a day when stocks are crashing, the markets are red, and CXAI is one of the few stocks that are up. I think we're up about 20%. Massive volume last night. I think we had 40 million shares after hours. I think we have 68 million shares so far. 70 million comments. That's right. It's like a roll. It's absolutely insane. But and as we always say, volume precedes price action. So when you see this type of volume, it means something big could be about to happen, usually on the upside. So with that said, Khurram, with that long introduction, Khurram, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for hosting me. So appreciate
Khurram, again, thank you for coming back. So the main thing today is I want to talk about some of the recent developments, news developments that you've had in the last couple of weeks. We want to catch up on that, milestones. Now, we do have a lot of new people who are going to be watching this, so I want to start off with maybe just a quick snapshot of what CXAI does, what the business model, who your customers are, and then we'll dive into the recent news developments.
Yeah, great. So look, Sky or CXAI is really a transformative company that's changing the way people and employees specifically engage with their workplace. So we have an agentic AI platform that creates really amazing employee experiences, all the way from booking a desk, booking a room, ordering food, getting connected with your fellow employees. And it's been a really roller coaster journey for us because we've got strong customer traction from the large enterprises. So when we think of our clients, think of large entertainment companies like NBC and Warner, think about large financial companies like Visa, think about large consumer companies like Adobe. So large multinationals that have global campuses, and they're adopting our platform ahead of all the other major, platform providers. So I think it's a recognition of the, really amazing product we have. And today we announced a new announcement on a one map experience that really is a differentiation to what's in the marketplace today. And then we announced, I think 2 days ago, some really interesting results from SkyView, which is the insights. And so the platform is working, the platform is gaining traction, and more importantly, it's creating real value, real ROI for our clients. So in a nutshell, we're the agentic AI platform for the workplace.
Yeah, and I think what's important to address, and before we go into the latest news, I think what's important to address is, I don't think, your customer. I think one of the issues in the market is I think one of the reasons why the stock has been undervalued is a lot of retail investors don't quite understand the value that you deliver to these customers. Again, your customers are mostly, again, Fortune 500 companies, are massive companies. You get these massive, these are 7-figure type contracts. Again, you mentioned Adobe. You have, I think, you have a bunch of financial services companies. I think you have Warner Brothers. You have, I think, Fox.
Visa is a big client for us.
Yeah. So I think, and when you talk about some of the things like what the product actually does, you talk about, it helps the employees get, the desks, food, all that. It doesn't sound like that impressive. It doesn't sound like, oh my God, this is like changing the world or whatever. So people say, wow, it doesn't sound like, but there's a reason. There has to be a reason why these companies, not only are they buying the product, but they keep renewing. Okay, that's a big thing. I mean, because again, you're a relatively new company, and you're already showing that traction in terms of not just new client acquisitions, but also the renewals, which shows that there is stickiness. So I think it's important for people to understand like how significant this is for these companies, where you're improving their, again, productivity, and I think most importantly, again, I think it's cutting costs, improving productivity, and you keep delivering these case studies that show real world results. Again, over and over again, real world results where companies are getting massive ROI. I don't know if there's any better way to explain to investors like how important this product is kind of in the everyday fabric of their kind of employee experience, and how it makes a difference. I mean, it really moves the needle, which is why they keep reordering. Again, these companies, they're not doing it because they like you. They're doing it because you're making them money or you're saving them money. So
no, absolutely. So I think let me focus on, because we are focused on the employee experience, but the impact is to the enterprise. So the buyer is the enterprise, right? It is the CTO or CIO at these companies. It's not some low-level manager. It is somebody very strategic that looking at the whole corporation. And it's a decision between the leaders of real estate, leaders of IT, leaders of HR. So this is not a small decision, right? I mean, the dollars are not huge today, but this is a decision that is existential to their business, right? Meaning that when you think about a Fortune 500 company, what's the most valuable asset? Well, it's the people, the employees, right? But second to that is real estate. That's the biggest line item, biggest cost item. And the pandemic has created this big transformation where hybrid work is the norm now, right? People are not coming into the office every single day. At the same time, companies are asking them to spend at least 3 days, sometimes 4 days, in some cases even 5 days at the office, right? But the reality is that people are still going to be in some sort of hybrid format, right? So when you think of a company, they don't want to see wasted space. They don't want to see real estate that's sitting there idle. That's a big item on a CEO's dashboard. What is my utilization of space, right? So that's number one. Number two is, are the employees productive? Are they actually getting the stuff done? Are they finding it great to be at the work? Because it's one thing to have the space, but the space has to be effective and productive, right? So we solve both of those problems, right? And number one, our clients have seen the value of that in terms of the utilization of the space, right? The fact that, we have this space, we have X number of desks, and we show the example of hundreds of thousands of bookings that are happening through our platform because they need to make sure the desks are booked. And then everybody who comes to the office needs to have a desk. If they don't have a desk, they can't be productive, right? So making sure that is there. But then what if they book and don't show up for whatever reason, right? That is underutilized, right? The cancellations happening the day off, then the real estate guy is going to be held accountable. Hey, you have all this space, 20-30% is ineffective. And that in dollars and cents for these companies is millions or tens of millions of dollars per site. I mean, you think about, you've got 50 campuses globally, this could be $100 million problem for them, right? So this is huge, and this is very important. And I think, as I tell you, as we work with our clients, we don't work with just one IT guy. We work with the whole organization: real estate, corporate HR, corporate communications, CIO office, security. I mean, this is across.
I think, yeah. I mean, that kind of explains. I mean, like, again, it's at some point, I think the market is going to understand, and then they're going to realize it. But I think one of the reasons why, again, the stock is exploding right now is, frankly, it's gotten undervalued because people don't quite understand what you're doing in this AI space. But the reality is this. Again, I'm looking from purely an investor perspective. Mm-hmm. This thing should be trading at close to $1 a share, right? It got too cheap. Maybe the company, there wasn't enough news in the early part of the year, whatever it is. All of a sudden, people are waking up. They realize, wow, this thing is a bargain, because the company has, I think, based on the last financials, there's something like 10 million plus in cash or current assets. The business itself, just in the private company comps, should be worth at least 5x revenues, which is like 25 million. So you have basically 35 million, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 35 million. You were trading at $6 million just 2 days ago, right? So you basically have a 5x upside from there, which was 17. So we're looking at roughly $1 a share, which is minimum. That's kind of the base. That's where the stock should be, just based on intrinsic value. It looks like the market is kind of figuring it out, which is, I think, why all of a sudden, they get it. And I think as they see news flow, as they see, more contracts, as they see, the revenue start to scale, they'll get it. And obviously the stock should be going to, its true value.
Jack, I will add to it that we have one coverage analyst at Maxim who's been covering our stock, and he still has it as a $2 buy. And that was at the end of November earnings call. So I think, look, I agree with all the things you said, but I would say to investors, you got to believe in the product and solving a real problem. We're solving a real problem with real clients who have multi-million-dollar budgets for this stuff, right? And so to me, we're becoming a must-have. I think that was the test for these clients too, right? Because to your point, the only reason they renew it if they feel like this is worth it, right? They can start an experiment, they like new technology, they try something. They don't always renew it because they realize that, oh, it wasn't as good as we expected, or it actually doesn't solve a real problem, right? So the fact that we're solving a real problem, the data speaks for itself. There's lots of activity and usage of the product, and we're getting a lot of great insights. And there's huge opportunity to monetize more is the bottom line on this, right? Because if we were not solving a real problem, we're not kind of creating ROI for them, why would they continue, number one? But more importantly, the platform roadmap we have with the analytics that we demonstrated, the one map experience that we announced today, and then the agentic AI platform overall is completely transformative to the market, right? So what I'm talking about is the efficiencies I showed today with our new products, the efficiency is going to be 10x, even to a point of 100x of these, right? We're going to get faster, better, and easier for the clients, and that will result in real tangible impact to them. So I think that's where the exciting part of the story is, right? The fact that we're just at the beginning of the innings. I think you mentioned in the last call too, right? This is not we're starting a new journey here with agentic AI, which I think is super transformative. But the good news is we have real clients, we have real sites on market. We're not just starting afresh. We already have the business at a good level. Now we're just about scaling the business to massive amounts. And that's why I believe with the Sky, we have a really disruptive offering. And by the way, the competition is not easy. At the same time, they're buying from us. They could have bought from larger customers, larger vendors, but the problem is they don't have all the capabilities we have. So really, if you think about our clients renewing and keeping with us, it is really because of the product, right? That is the most important thing that we have. And we are very close to the C-levels of these companies. We're not talking to the staff level manager. We're really talking to the CIOs. So I think it's just a testament of the capability of the product, the roadmap, and more importantly, the execution, right? We have executed now with these results. We can demonstrate that we have product market fit. We have real value being created, and these customers are feeling the value of it, and they're going to be extending us more. And then those referrals will lead to newer clients. And the pipeline of newer clients is very strong. We're in lots of RFPs. I think we're winning most of those RFPs. But more importantly, we're creating real value for these clients. So I think I'm super excited about the future. I think, like you finish the point on the stock. I think we are going through a little bit of roller coaster, but I think at the end, this is going to come out really strong. So
roller coasters are good. It gets eyeballs on the stock, and again, the volume precedes price action. First, you got to get the volume, and everything happens from there. So anyway, the bottom line is this, which I think is very. You point out a couple of very important things, which I want to dive into, which is that look. You're signing up. These are major Fortune 500 companies. You're dealing right at the C level with the chief technology over the top level guys, and they are renewing. Okay, it's not they're renewing, which is again these are 7-figure price tags. If they keep renewing, it means the product is like you said, it's a must-have. And I think one of the challenges, frankly, is these are long sales cycles, right? These are not like, it's a consumer product, people buy one. These are longer sales cycles, and it takes maybe a couple of months or longer to get them. Yep. And you're a relatively new company. And you've been iterating as we've been going on. So there's a pipeline, it looks like there's probably a growing pipeline of deals that we're going to be seeing coming out. So it's going to be, I think, very exciting for people going forward, probably over the next 6 months. Again, right now the company is in what I call the 10-bagger window. It's we talk about it in the 10-bagger blueprint book, which is these stocks that go 10x or more. What I've noticed over the last 25 plus years is all the big money, the big gains are usually happen during a period of about 6 to 12 months, where a company they hit that inflection point. Everything comes together, and that's where all the value is created for investors. I believe, my personal opinion, again, this is not investment advice, I believe CXAI is in that window right now. So, once you start showing those new contracts, we could see some massive results. But even right now, the stock, again, deep value in the stock. One thing I want to address, I think probably the elephant in the room, I think we should address the elephant in the room, is the AI stocks, SaaS stocks have gotten totally wrecked since
Mhm.
the start of the year. I mean, SaaS, AI, down massively. People are worried, is AI going to disrupt this company, that company? Adobe, you mentioned Adobe. I mean, all these stocks got hit. The question is this, Khurram,
Mhm.
are you in danger of AI possibly disrupting your model?
The answer is no, because we're actually disrupting ourselves with AI. We are the agentic AI company in this space. And to address your earlier part, the AI stocks that are being hurt are because they have massive spends and massive capital expense, right? We're a vertical AI software business, right? We don't have massive capital spends. We don't have projections to spend. We're leveraging our partnership with Google, with Amazon, with all these cloud providers. So our cost structure and spend is going to be very light, okay? And actually is going to get more and more efficient with time because we are adopting AI ourselves. With agentic AI company ourselves, all our employees use AI tools, right? All the way from coding to development to engineering to customer success to sales and marketing. So we're a very light organization and we're leveraging AI. But then what we're building for our clients is an agentic AI platform that is best in class, is better than anything else out there. And to your point, Jack, the new clients that are coming into us and the people are renewing, it's not just because there's one reason actually that the product works today. It gives them real insights and real value, but more importantly, they believe in the roadmap. They believe in the agentic AI roadmap, and that's what's getting them committed, and that's why we're winning new deals as well. So I think that we're on the right trajectory. We're not in the same cycle of those AI stocks, but naturally, like you said, the market kind of sweeps everything as the same, right? We have the ticker CXAI, so we get kind of bucketed in the same domain, but we're not in the same domain of the AI stocks that are going to spend a lot of capital in the next 18, 24 months. They're going to be very, it's going to take a while to get to profitability, right? We're on a different track, right? We look at our gross margins, they're in the 85 plus. Look at our subscription to one-time revenue north of 90%. We're in a very good business model, and naturally SaaS is being impacted, but for us, that was already a decision we made 2 years ago, right? Before the market had all these, we understood the fact that agentic AI is going to be the way of the future. So we've adapted to that, and our pricing is really tied to outcome-based, really value-based. And as you see, the results we showed in the 2 press releases this week are really demonstrating that this is not just, oh, I have a license, I have a product that I may use once in a while. This is more about what is the impact of this product to our business. I think that's where the AI companies that are really going to be successful are the ones that are really going to show that impact on those outcomes. So we're already on that track. There is a transition, naturally. Some of these products are going to go through transition, but we're ready for that transition. We're not holding back to say we're going to hold the fort on SaaS for the next 10 years. We believe that that transformation is underway, and every one of our clients is committed to AI. I think that's the future. But like I said, we're the vertical AI in the workplace. We're not the horizontal AI that's going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to build their solution here.
Well, the market paints everybody with the same brush. This is and that's also the opportunity for investors because we've seen these cycles. Anytime there's something new, a major new trend, whatever it is, it's not a straight line. It always goes through cycles. We're still in the very, very early stages, probably in the first inning of the AI mega trend. We're like in literally, people are comparing to the .com bubble, whatever it is. I would say if it's a bubble, we're probably like in 1996 or 7. So we have like probably 2 years plus of, and all the money, the big money is made in those next 2 years. I think once people start seeing, and it will probably happen later this year. I think once people start seeing real world results, real world earnings, it's going to be incredible. That's going to make the market go absolutely parabolic when people see it, and then everybody's going to have FOMO, and that we see that. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same playbook over and over again. Right now, we're seeing the thing at the ground floor. Okay, we're going to get to some questions. I know we're not tight. We got about 10 minutes. We got 8 minutes to go. I'd like to see if we can get to talk about the latest news, which we haven't even touched on. So you had two releases. One of them is, again, you got another real world case study that came out. You get a real world benefits ROI. And the other one is the new product launch, which is the mapping. You want to start with the mapping first, or?
Yeah, let's do the mapping. So look, if you think about booking systems and stuff, they're very old school in terms of just a listing and you book a room, book a desk. or all this stuff. I think one of the things that we've always had is this mapping capability to do navigation, and wayfinding. But now what we're doing is we're actually combining all of this stuff into one map, meaning there's one map, you get it on your app or on your browser, and you can book a room, book a desk, look at events, navigate all through one map, right? I think that's a huge differentiation, because think about it. When you walk into a building, you don't have no clue where things are at. Oh, there's Sequoia room. Where is the secure room? Well, it's on the other side of the building. Well, if I can see it on my map right away, I can not only book it knowing that that's the location I want to be, but I can also navigate to it, right? So it's creating that very human kind of like response, where it's like it's very natural to you. And I think that's where we're seeing in our customers. They were been asking for this, and we now have implemented it. We actually have one of our large financial service customers using it, and it has caused a major change in their experience, meaning the employees love it. The fact that they can see where the room is, they can see what's inside the room, they can also see what's around it and things happening. So the just-in-time booking is also happening. Like a lot of people just don't book till they get to the office. They're like, oh, where do I have to be? And these offices are not just like 1,000 square foot. They're like hundreds of thousands of square feet over multiple buildings and multiple floors. It's a whole little city, right? So it makes it a lot different. And think about it, you come into an office, you're late for a meeting, or you're getting to a meeting, and then you spend 10 minutes trying to figure out where parking is, 5 minutes to figure out where the entry door is, call the guy. You have to show up 30 minutes before. So think about the fact that we're going to save for every meeting 15 to 30 minutes just because of that, right? That's the productivity. And then secondly is just the fact that you may be missing out on things that are happening. You're in this big environment, and there's an event going on, and it was on a topic that you were interested in. What if you just got a little notification? So it really has a lot of.
It's all these things add up. It's all these little things, they add up, and I think that the smart CEOs who understand the value of all the stuff, they understand again the value of the employee time. Which, by the way, these are not like $10 an hour employees. This is not these are like expensive people. These are all six-figure plus employees. And if you can increase their productivity, again, your product is not that expensive. I mean, you only need to have a marginal increase in productivity to more than pay for 50x or 100x. It should be like a no-brainer. I think it's just going to be as more people get it, that's when we're going to see that kind of inflection point. And again, you had another case study, which again points.
The other one, the first one is super interesting on the space reservation, and this client had this big campus in Silicon Valley where they were seeing all these inefficiencies because, like I said, people book a room and then they can't, they don't show up, or they have cancellations, and the cancellations happen the last minute. So we actually did an algorithm with our technologists on terms of looking at the booking data over the last, say, couple of months. And we saw that, we figured out there was an active cancellation model that you could actually predict the cancellation before it even happened, right? So now we could actually predict to the customer and say, hey, 20% are getting canceled anyway. So you may invite other people to that space, or you can reduce that space, because you don't need that much space. So I think that has been super successful in terms of space optimization, and also in terms of, making sure people are aware that space is available when they're making a decision. Because sometimes you make a decision the night before. Oh, I want to go to the office. Oh, it's all booked. Well, it's booked, but it's actually not going to be committed, right? So we're making those insights to our clients, which has been super helpful to them, because their efficiencies, they went from 70% to 100% efficiency, on near 100%, right? Nobody can be 100%, but really maximum efficiency. I think that in dollars and cents is huge, because think about it, in Silicon Valley, when you have an office space, that's expensive lease space, right? And if you're paying $100,000 and you're only getting $70,000 value for it per month, that's real dollars, right? And you add it up to number of sites and places. So we're talking about millions of dollars of savings in real estate at one site, right? And we're talking about, a lot of productivity gains because of the fact that now people are aware that space is available, you can use it. So that's just the space booking piece, right? The other piece that was interesting is the behavior. The fact that people want to come in at a certain time, we want flexibility, but at the same time, you want to make sure that people actually do show up. So the concept of check-in, right? The fact that you come in, you're checked in, you're there. You're not just doing the coffee badging. You come in, You have your coffee, you leave, right? So, because part of the reason is to be in the space is to be collaborating and communicating with us, right? So this creates the guardrails, but also creates the environment that people feel like, oh, well, who's in the office? Oh, Jack's in the office. I'd like to meet him. And by the way, who else is there? And then maybe we can have a meeting on a topic that we were discussing. And, sometimes setting those meetings up virtually can take a nightmare, right? But you're right there. You're in the office. You know who's there. You know what the availability is. It creates that environment. So I think all in all, this has resulted in a successful RTO for that company, right? They were very nervous about RTO. They were very nervous that, oh, we're going to tell people 4 days in the office. They may be, kind of feeling like, it's not worth it. But now they're realizing that actually with this tool, they're actually able to be more successful in getting the bookings they want. They're also more successful in getting, interacting with other folks and make this more active space, right? Because before it was like, oh, it's a nice to have. Maybe somebody shows up in the office. Well, I will just work from home. It's easy, right? Yeah. Now there's a FOMO. I want to be in the office because I want to interact with all these people.
Khurram, I want to get to some questions because I know we got
to
finish in a few minutes. So let's see. We got a question from actually one of our investors in the audience. I think this guy is actually in Thailand.
Okay.
Next to Mark Faber, the big money manager, Mark Faber. So he's asking. Let's see here. Interesting question. He got 2 questions. Interesting. This one, let's see if we can go real quick. Khurram, do you think that a lot of CEOs are doing layoffs because of COVID bloat and not AI? Interesting.
See, I think that's a great question, and I would say it's a combination. I do think that there is the COVID bloat, that they had already hired too many people, so that is absolutely true. But I also think that people are realizing that maybe they're overhired for certain functions, and certain functions are doing better in a certain way. I think there's hirings and firings. I think there's both. I don't think it's only just going to be less people in some area. I think it's the right people that you need. So as an example, if you're talking about software development and you think like, oh, well, I don't need all these engineers because I have Claude and I can code all this stuff and I have a machine doing it. So I need less engineers. That's great. But then you may need more QA people because somebody needs to test that code and a human has to be in the loop in some of these situations. So I think there is a balance that's going to happen. But I do think that if you're not using AI in the company, your job is going to be under threat, right? That's why I've told my team, every single person on my team has to use AI tools. So I look at them as being more productive. AI is going to make them more productive, more efficient, and that's the value of them than like cutting them. But if they're not using AI, they're going to be left behind.
Okay, Jonathan, next question is, any new products you can share that will improve cross-sell and widen the scope of products that a customer buys from CXAI?
That's a great question. From actually, we didn't do the live stream on that press release. We announced a partnership with a company called TouchSource that is a leader in kiosks. They have around 11,000 kiosks around the country. They're in retail malls. They're in medical offices. They're in office complexes, mid-market, right? And one of the strategies we have with them is they've got all these points of presence where you can get directions or you can get, a map or something. We want to agentify that, use our agentic AI to agentify those kiosks. So we're partnering very closely with the CEO there and the team there. We're super excited because that's going to be the next wave of partnership and cross-selling, because we can now lighten up all those 11,000 kiosks with our agentic AI and upsell it through them. That's a huge opportunity. Similarly, they have kiosk products that we're going to put into our customers. Our customers have been asking for kiosks. We're not a hardware company, we're a software company. So as we look at the scope of planning of putting a kiosk on every single floor of every single client we have, it's a huge opportunity, right? So we are working on those partnerships. You'll see some more partnerships coming out because I see the capability that we built with agentic AI to solve a lot of problems across the whole ecosystem in the workplace. And this is one example where I really believe that this company has a lot of great assets and we can work with them to scale up. So.
Okay, Jonathan. Okay, this is the last question. Okay, so Jonathan said, okay, great performance in CXAI this week. Jack had it right, was getting the word out. Yeah, the way, we're talking about the moving averages because that was the big breakout. The stock once we broke out above 17 cents. And guess what, Jonathan? Guess what? Take a look at the charts. We got The stock right now, we have a golden cross as an algo buy signal right now in the 30-minute chart. So again, not a buy sell recommendation. Okay, but he has a comment here. Now we need news flow. Khurram, so news flow. This guy gets it. You know, he works with Mark Faber. I think he works with Mark Faber. It's a big money manager. I think he's living in Thailand now. What can we expect in terms of news flow from CXAI in the coming weeks? What kind of milestones are coming up?
Well, look, the coming weeks are important. We have our 10K filing coming up, so you're going to see that. You're going to have our earnings release. I think there's going to be other product and customer initiatives that we're on that are going to be super important that we're going to be announcing. So I think you're going to see a lot of news release. I think we're on a really good track of momentum with our clients, and I want to share the success stories of those as well as the new opportunities that are coming our way. But yeah, we're going to be super active with Jack, absolutely. And the earnings will come in the month of March here, so we're going to do that, and we'll have the 10K filed, and so there's going to be a lot of activity next 30 days here, so for sure.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, great. So on that note, Khurram, I want to thank you, and I just want to remind our audience of this guy. C Plus is also another big technical trader in our audience. So yeah, guys, keep an eye on that 30-minute charts, the golden cross right now. We have a major buy signal flashing. So with that said, Khurram, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you all on the next live stream. Thank you again.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. Take care.